Okay. Avram mishte gadol b'yom he gamel as Yitzchak. Avram makes a big suda on the day that Yitzchak gets weaned, when he stops nursing. So how come we don't do the suda? We copy Sheva Brachas. Who made up Sheva Brachas? Who made up Sheva Brachas? Right? You'll see it next week. Next week, you don't have to know yet. It's next week's parsha.
Well,
Because no one learned that parsha yet. What? Not Yaakov didn't make it up. Yaakov and Leah really. Lavan made up Sheva Brachas. Lavan made Sheva Brachas when Yaakov marries. So Lavan creates Sheva Brachas, and no Jew will skip Sheva Brachas. We copy Lavan. But Avraham makes up a Suda, B'yom Hil Gamal Yitzchak, and nobody does this. What? Maybe it could coincide with. I mean, there's people who say maybe, but Pasha Pshat, it's not the same time. It's two different things. He Gamel means when he's weaned. So the way you start to get into this is like this: is He Gamel means what? What does it literally mean? Translate the word as it is. He Gamel. A Gamel is a camel. He Gamel is to become as a camel. He Gamel, to be cameled. Why should the word He Gamel mean to become He Gamel? Because what's a Gamel? You have to define what a Gamel is. What's the aside of a camel? What's the difference between a camel and a horse? It's not just a means of transportation.
Carry stuff.
What? A horse carries stuff. What does a camel do different?
Water.
What?
Water.
A camel is called the ship of the desert. It can store huge amounts of water. It doesn't need to be near a trough. It can go for a long time without needing to be near water. It's independent. It has a very long extension cord. It doesn't need to be near a trough. So when a child reaches the point that it doesn't need its mother, it's called He Gamel. He became like. Now, really, I don't think it even means that. He Gamel doesn't really mean camel, and weaned is what He Gamel must mean. Gamal and nigmal, it means to be independent, to become independent. And a camel is called a gamal because it doesn't need anything. It's self-sufficient. It drinks water, goes. That's what it's called a camel. And when you get weaned, you become He Gamel, like a camel, but really it means both of them mean independent. It's the day when the kid becomes independent. Like the raya for that is also Gemilas Chasadim. What does that mean? So according to this, what does Gemilas Chasadim mean? It's the opposite of what we think it means. What do you think Gemilas Chasadim means? It means to do chesed. What does it mean now? To stand someone up on his own, that he should be weaned from chesed. He should be able to become self-sufficient, right? The raya to this is that din v'cheshbin is called gemol. You familiar with that? Gemol? Right? Hashem is goyim. Okay, there could be chesed. But gemol, you never saw the lashon gemol. Ram has sefer gemol. Gemol means din v'cheshbon, payback, payment. Gemol is it's din. It's what you deserve. It's what you earn. Independence is that I'm not dependent. I'm not getting handouts. So this is the reason why Yitzchak has the Suda b'yom higamel, and we don't do it because this is a special Suda just for Yitzchak. What's Yitzchak's midah? Din. Din means what? That I earn my own way. No free rides. It's no SNAP and no welfare. I get up early, I work hard, and I eat what I get. So if your midah is independence and self-sufficiency, so what day does your career start? Yom Higamel is Yitzchak. Yitzchak, Avraham was all about chesed, taking care of each other. So everything was Avraham until Yitzchak gets weaned, and that's when the next level of life begins. Stage 2 is Yitzchak is Gemol, is Nigmal, is Yitzchak is weaned. You hear that? So Yitzchak visualize Yitzchak as this midah of a camel. Independent, selfish, I don't need anybody. The problem is, so like if you're that guy that doesn't need anything, won't take from anybody. You don't ask directions, you have to do everything yourself. So how do you find the shidduch for someone like that? It's a very daunting task, right? What do you propose? You ask him that making a shidduch for someone who doesn't need anybody is a little bit of a problem. What? Who?
She go to the well.
And why? What's the well going to help you?
I don't know.
She has to swallow off the camel.
What do you need? How do you find the shidduch for someone who doesn't need anybody? What's the problem with that? Why is that a problem for shidduchim?
Because what are they going to offer him?
And therefore what? So why does he need her? How's she going to feel fulfilled? There's a lot of issues. What? But there's no relationship. There's no, right? We don't need there's two roommates. What is it like? So this is a big sugya. The marriage of Yitzchak is a very hard thing, and this is why what Eliezer needs to look for. What does he have to look for? He has to look for someone who can give a camel to drink. Understand? What? Is that like trippy? What? It's not playing games. Eliezer's asking, I'm going to come to the well, and some girl is going to give, and the girl who is offering to give a camel to drink, that's the one. That's the girl who you meant for Yitzchak. What does that mean in English? Someone who can give to Mr. I don't need anything. It's very, very trippy, right? So we have to figure out what that means. And Rivka does one step better. What does she say? She says, I'm going to give him to drink. Ad kalois. He just says someone's going to offer me to drink. V'gam gamalecha eshav. And she says, I'm going to give you and your camels ad kaloisam lishtois until they finish drinking, which he didn't ask for, which is a huge thing, meaning how much camels drink. And so what's going on over here? And now you can start to understand why it's a big deal. He lifts his eyes, sees camels coming, not Rivka. And she falls off her camel. So what does that mean that she falls off her camel? Once we understand that what's going on over here is not regular stuff, it's the sugya of independence versus dependence. And just to make it even trippier, just to make it crazier, you have to know the sukkah. I should have given homework, but you have to have the sukkah race. But when Rivka leaves, who does she take with her? Who does Lavan give? Who does Besuel give her when she comes? When does Rivka die in the Torah? Does it say when she died? It doesn't say when Rivka dies in the Torah. We know she died because someone else died, and we know that. What? Devira. Who was Devira? What was her job? Her Meinekes. So you understand? So Yitzchak is Mr. Weaned. The weaned defines him. I don't need anything. I'm self-sufficient. What is Rivka? Rivka doesn't go anywhere in her life without her Meinekes. Her entire life she travels with her Meinekes. In fact, the Torah doesn't even tell us when she dies. Devira dies, and then we assume that Miriam died. She died of thirst. She had no Meinekes. I don't know if she was really being unique, but the Torah wants us to always associate Rivka with her Meinekes. So you have to imagine the shidduch over here. You have Yitzchak, who's a caricature of independence, so we call him the camel, and she is she's total chesed. We only know one thing about her. She's just total giving, which is the opposite. There's this big, strong guy, Eliezer, who's a giant, with his 10 men on all their camels and all their stuff. This little girl comes to the well, and she's drawing water for all of them. That is the most twisted view of the opposite of din. It's like she's doing chesed, feeding all these big, strong, burly, grown men. She's going to feed them, right? So she's total chesed, and he's total din. She's yoinek, and he's. This is also, you see this also. You see this by. It's not for now, but when Moshe says, "I can't carry Klal Yisrael, ki yisa oimen es hayoinek," I can't do this anymore. Like a oimen, like a nursing mother holds her yoinek, her baby, right? So what happens? So he Hashem tells him, he gathers the kingdom, and he's shoyrish some of his koyach onto them, and they stop being nisnavev machane. What were their names? Eldad and Medad, which means what? Okay, Baruch Hashem, the oil is so holy. Eldad and Medad means Eldad and Medad, from the breast and to the breast. Medadim. So Eldad means nursing, and Medad is weaned. Right? It's the same contrast of Yitzchak and Rivka. Yitzchak is weaned and Rivka is nursing. So I'll just give you, and then Camel, she falls. Well, Camel will give you one last thing. In next week's Parshas, so Yaakov is the child of this Shleimus, which we have to figure it out. But this Shleimus of Yitzchak and Rivka, the nursing one and the weaned one, is that shidduch, whatever that's going to look like. What comes out of that shidduch is Yaakov. What's Yaakov's story with camels? Where are camels in Yaakov's life?
When he goes to greet Esav.
When he goes to greet Esav, he sends him gifts. What are the gifts? He sends him flocks of animals, Ayorim and Tioshim, Esrim. At the end, he sends him flocks of different animals. The last thing he sends, what does he send? Craziest thing. It's good. You have to see it inside. Next week's Parshas. 2 weeks. This is this Pasuk. Okay, here it is. He sends him Izim Masayim. First Izim, 200 Izim. Esav's the Seir Izim. Utioshem Esrim. Rechelim Masayim. Ve'elim Esrim. And the last, well, not the last. Then he sends him Gemalim Meinikais. Uvenehem Shleishim. 30 nursing camels. It's like, if you combine weaned and nursing, what would you get? You would get nursing camels. What is a nursing? How is that? Like, what is that? That's what he's saying to Esav, right? Nursing camels and their kids. All right, so now we have all the chayim. You have to connect all that to figure out what's going on. What is a nurse? How does a nursing camel? Nursing camel, even superficially, sounds like the shleimus. If you wanted to be independent, but you want to do chesed, so how do you have chesed and din combined? So what would the perfect world look like? The perfect person. What's the downside of din? We skipped those parts. Who's pure din in the Torah? Who's like the philosophy of din? Did we do this? What?
Yitzchak.
Good, yeah, that's true. Yitzchak. But which we're going to see now. But the wrong side of din is Sedoim. Sedoim's hashkafa is what? Shali, shalach, shalach. It's a very rational svara. Sedoim. Why should I give you chesed? Then you're not going to earn it yourself. You're enabling me. You're taking away the whole joy of shleimus. Right? It's like losing weight with Manjaro. Right? You never really enjoy the weight loss,
and
right?
Manjaro came to you.
What?
Manjaro came to you.
Okay, but it came. I didn't. You don't search. You have to search it out. You have to find it. You have to create it. You have to mix it. Right? That's why maybe it's like a step. Like you didn't buy real Manjaro. You buy generic that you found in a basement, and maybe it's a little bit deserving. Like you take risks. You put your life in your hands. Who knows? Okay, but Rabbi, no dimples, Torah. Okay, getting into dimple territory again. What's the word? What's you understand? Sedoim is a real philosophy. It's not what we learned in school. It makes sense. It's what right do you have to do chesed to somebody? You understand what you do when you do chesed to somebody? What are you doing to them? Literally, the worst thing you can do to someone. Argue this. Imagine we're playing two sides of a debate. Chesed is the worst thing in the world. Go, what's your response? It's a nice radical claim. It should be easy thing to fight. Okay? There's nothing worse than chesed. The greatest evil in the universe is chesed. You want me to explain it?
It is if it's in the wrong proportion.
That's true.
It's in the wrong people.
What?
That's true.
For anybody. Why? You want my side or you want the other side? Which side you like better?
Because you're not going to be able to get on your own?
What's the purpose of life? Hashem created you to be something. You're going to spend your whole life like a schnorrer. There's no the reason why Hashem made the Bria and gave us Bechira is because of Nama the Gesufa. Because you want to eat the fruits of your own labor. If I give you something, you don't enjoy it. It's I'm a schnorrer. The greatest simcha is to sit on top of the mountain. That's the laughter of Yitzchak.
We didn't do laughter.
What?
We didn't do the laughter.
We didn't do laughter. Yitzchak's laughter is Yitzchak stands on top of the mountain. The kasha is Yitzchak's the most serious guy in Kol Torah Kula, and his name is laughter. How's that possible? How could the most serious guy's name mean laughter? And the answer is fakir. Davka, the only guy who could laugh is Yitzchak, because what real laughter is? The only guy who could really laugh is the guy who every single thing in his life he earned. He paid in full. He didn't steal, he didn't cheat, no shortcuts. Nobody else could laugh. Because when you get to the top of your mountain and you took a cable car and you faked it, you can't really laugh because someone knows your secret. You're exposed. True shleimus is, I earned it. Laughter is the expression of guiltlessness. It's this deep belly laugh that the only guy who can do it is the guy on top who has nothing to be embarrassed of. As soon as you're exposed, I ever told you the word on why there's a ramp on the Mizbeach? It's short, it's such an important Torah. Why is there a ramp by the Mizbeach? Asher lo yisi gole ervascha alav. So you shouldn't reveal your erva onto the Mizbeach. Nice, it's a nice hergish, but the problem is that we know that all the begodim, they wore mechnasayim, they were wearing pants. Where is the erva? Everybody tries to explain how you lift your foot, you're walking, you ever tried to make the cheshbon, like why is walking up a ramp different than stairs? We all come up with weird svaras, but l'maisa, no matter what your svara is, it's not taking into account that you're wearing pants. If you're wearing pants, there's no gilui erva no matter what you do, right? What's pshat? So I think the pshat really is figurative. The whole mishkan is a mashal. It's not. It represents the universe. So what is the idea of a ramp in the universe? The ramp is hashaloisi kolavas. What does that mean? That the mizbeach represents avodah, your avodah. And how do you get to the peak of your avodah? How do you climb your mountain? If you climb your mountain by a ramp, the mashal I always use is a group of kids goes to Eretz, college kids, you go to Masada, and you climb. If you go in the morning for sunrise, and you climb Masada. There's always one guy who, when no one's looking, takes the cable car, right? There's always that guy. But on the top of the mountain, after it's over, even though he pours his like May Eden on his head and it all looks all schwitzed up and he's krechzing, you always know who that guy is. How? In the group picture. Either sometimes he's the guy in the corner, like can't really still, so he doesn't belong there. More likely, he's the guy in the middle, like overly dramatic, overcompensating for his guilt by being too geshmak. That's the guy. The most geshmak guy in the picture is the guy who took the cable car. It's really a sight, right? But what's the idea? The idea is that you took a cable car, you're a fraud. You're not real. You can't stand on top of a mountain and say, look what I did. So when you climb your mountain by a ramp, what's the musig of a ramp? A ramp hits every single spot along the journey. It's a consistent growth with no growth, no jumps. Not even little jumps, no jumps. So when you get to your avodah, you climb your personal mizbeach by a ramp, then you have no exposure. Nobody can expose you. Nobody can say you cheated, I saw you do this. You have no secrets. And that's total confidence. That's the most of getting blank looks. You hear it? Meaning when you and steers is not a cable car, but it's a lot of little jumps. It's not a smooth, steady progress. It's how do you get from here to here, and from here to here. On the ramp, a ramp is an infinite amount of stairs. It's a steady progression. The person who got there and he borrowed the money, he stole the money, he inherited the money. Like everyone knows, you sit in shul by kiddush. Like the guy, he's talking about how many nursing homes the guy has, and they go, yeah, he got it from his father. That ruined the whole thing. That's like the ultimate shutdown, or even worse, the shredder, right? Right? Or the bank took it, or is taking it, whatever. I'm saying, but something where there's exposure, right? Everyone's looking for the crack in their armor. The guy who has no cracks, who did every single thing on his own, he climbed up his ramp, his mizbeach by a ramp. He is Asher Leisigol Chalov. And that's the musig of Mizbeach. It's Dafka Mizbeach. Mizbeach's Avodah. The menorah had stairs. How could the menorah have stairs? We're not worried about the Erev by menorah. Is that a good shayla? Right? So what's the vart? Because it's not true that you always need to take a ramp. Right now we're in a share. Why are you coming to a share? Why don't you figure everything out yourself? Why are you allowed to go to a share? Isn't the share a cable car? What's the teretz? Now he's all self-conscious, not going to say anything?
We have sushi.
What?
We have sushi.
I thought you had something real to say and you were holding it.
Really?
You,
I've been coming for how long?
no, you always have amazing stuff to say. What's the part? You hear the shaila? Why the Torah has a rule you can't have because.
Sometimes coming to a shear is easier.
I was saying the problem.
Well,
Why?
they said this will take you somewhere that you can't get on your own.
Why not? Who says? Who says? I think you guys would all get there. If I wouldn't give you the share, you'll all get there earlier than I got there in life. The next door is always smarter and quicker and sharper than the old door. You're all ahead of probably where I was at your age. Right? What? Yeah, but you heard my Torah now. You'd go like, that worked? They bought that? You'd probably hear my shit and go like, okay. 1990s, like who knows? Whatever.
70s.
But I'm saying you get, I told you my son, like, I have this guy, Yankee Shore. Yankee Shore is like, when he was the Makarov on campus in Albany. The funniest guy, sharpest lines. He went to work years ago already. He's not in yeshiva. He calls me still every Friday, every Friday, like Rebbe. But like, he's the coolest guy in the world. So it's a little awkward to call like your Rebbe. So sometimes he likes to mix in a joke just to take the edge off. Like that shouldn't be so like cringy that he's calling me up like I'm a Rebbe. But he feels close to me. He wants to call me. But like we feel like he's too cool to call a Rebbe. He's a very cool guy. So he has this amazing shtick he does. Like when he calls like. Call me before on Purim. He called me. He He always nails everything with his little line. He goes, Rebbe. He's a guy working for years. Rebbe, I want to learn. I want to learn, Rebbe. I want to learn. That's on the phone calling me. He's like faking drunk. It's like it's the guys. I always call my son Tzvi. I say Tzvi, Harvey. I say Tzvi. I always tell him Yankee songs. Yankee nailed Purim. Like he got the whole Purim in one sentence. Like I was so blown away. Like we all did that, but he's the guy who chapped that everyone does that. Like that's how he touched up Purim, and like it made me realize, yeah, that's how come I never chapped that was Purim. So my son Tzvi, every time I tell him a line from Yankee that I think is genius, Tzvi goes like that. You're Nesbal. Like, but in Edison, we had a flyer on the wall on Purim, a sign. It says, "So just learn." Just learn. They skipped the whole sugya. They found one what I thought was godliness. That's your door. Your door is like whatever I think is the genius line. I walk into the dorm and you have it on the wall like a sign. It says, it's amazing. You guys are you're very ahead of yourselves, and it's amazing. But you can't just. What could happen be when you're too smart, too young, you become cynical and you make jokes of thinking because you chop everything. You can't be cynical. You have to realize that whatever you think you know now, it could take you amazing places if you start to and you work it. I'll come to shiurim from you, and if you should. I hope you pass me by before my brain before I'm senile, so I can enjoy it. And that's the mila. The mila is I have one shir. I can go to 15 shiurim. I hear 15 cool things a week, but you got to pass me by, and it won't take that much. But you have to take it seriously, and you have to. But this is the vart. So the shaila is over here. Why you need a ramp by the mizbeach and why by the menorah is a staircase. So the answer is that yes, this idea that you have to do things yourself. You have to earn everything yourself, and no shortcuts, and no free rides, and then you feel like a shalom. That's the laughter. I just tied it all together. I don't know what I said, what I didn't say. And that's the laughter of Yitzchak, and that's why I said only Yitzchak could laugh. The guy who paid for everything and earned everything, he's the only guy who could sit on top of the mountain, and that's their deep laughter. It's not the only kind of laughter, but it's like the deepest laughter. It's like there's a giggle, there's sneering, there's like 8 different laughters. But Yitzchak's laughter is an amazing laugh. The belly laugh of a person who everything in his life is kosher. The proof of this laugh is when someone's ashamed and feels exposed, what do? You do this fake, we call it a sheepish laugh. When I embarrass you, so you do this fake laugh, that's the way you fake like you didn't embarrass me. because confidence laughs. So when I want to show that I'm unshaken, I laugh. It's like my instinctual way to mask my discomfort. You mask them? You hear it? It's very deep. But the way we mask our discomfort of shame, the way you mask shame, I'm not vulnerable. You didn't just touch a raw nerve. I laugh. Because that's subconsciously what we know that laughter is a sign of total confidence. I want to mimic confidence, I do this fake laugh. That's the proof. It's real. So that's Yitzchak's laughter. So that's climbing that's no cable car. And the staircase is like, we'll see. So, but then there's another muscle. So you're right, that's why in yeshiva they don't want you using Masifta. When there was no Masifta, we had something called the Green Monster. It was the Oitzim Mefarshei Talmud. And they called it, use the Green Monster, like no, it's not, because it does the work for you. You have to, right? Today, if I have the Masifta, I feel like I'm the biggest lamba in the world. I'm actually learning the Farshim, But when you're in yeshiva, you sneer at a Masifta, letting someone do the work for you, right? So, let's say I'm in the mall and my kid is lost. Okay? And someone comes over to me and sees the panic, I'm running around, and they say, "Are you looking for a kid?" And I go, yeah. And he goes, I know where I saw him. Am I gonna say, "Don't tell me, I'm gonna find him myself"? Like, don't tell me. Why not? So figure it out, be magner. When are you doing an avla to me? To tell me, it's very important to make this chiluk. When in life do we have to do it ourselves, and when you'd be the biggest idiot if you wanted to do it yourself? When do you want a handout? When do you want a hint? When do you want to be actually told? And that's the shaila. What's the answer? Can you be magder? Can you figure out the kriveya? What is the variable at play?
When it's beneficial.
They're both beneficial.
No, because if it's stunting the one person's growth, it's not beneficial.
Okay, so this is stunting my growth too. I feel much better if it's not the stunting the growth, because I would feel much better if I found it myself. Maybe not. That's weird. But the idea of doing something myself didn't go away. We didn't erase that. It is always better to do something yourself. It's not that certain things you don't need that. No, the certain things that override it. What's overriding the need to do it myself? That's a shiloh. And the same thing with going to a shir. It's the same shiloh. Going to a shir. How come you can't read Masifta, but you can go to a shir? What's the difference? Good shiloh? So what's the teretz? What?
Think you slugged up the survey?
No, it's not true, but we'll see, right? We'll see. I mean, they both don't assume. They assume that they knew what they were doing.
Good.
Right? So the answer is, I think, like this. What's the answer? The answer is that there's a mizbeach and there's a menorah. There's two different avodas. The mizbeach is avodah. Avodah is becoming who you were meant to be. What's the other side? Let's use my Masada marshal. The guy who takes the cable car up to the top of Masada, the guy who climbs it, the climber is 100 times better, this guy's inferior. Right? But let me ask you a deeper question. When they're both at the top, and they get to see the view of Yerushalayim from the top of Masada, the view of the Dead Sea, is there a difference in the view between the two guys? Is it, what?
Yeah.
Why?
Well, the physical view, no.
The
but
physical view.
physical view, no.
So let's say I'm in the Eretz Yisrael for a few hours. I came in. I want to see Yerushalayim. I can't get there. So you get to Masada. I get tired enough. I have to turn around, go back to the airport. I want to see Yerushalayim at least. So you'd be an idiot if you climbed it. You take the cable car, right? And you get to the top and you see it. So what's the difference? How would you be modded these two things? The idea is like this. It's a very simple thing. Is that climbing the ramp is when it's about me. I have to be all that I could be. If I take a handout, then I'm not being me. Right? If I take a handout or a shortcut, I'm not being who I could have been. But when my kid is lost in the mall, it's not about me. It's about him. I'm gonna sacrifice him because of me. I'm not the only person in the world. Self-actualization needs doing it yourself. But for somebody else, you want You just want to save them. It's not about me. I'd be an idiot if I tried to figure it out myself, right? I always use the mashal of with the guy killing the dragon, right? The hero slaying thing.
Slaying dragons.
What would happen if the princess sees you fighting the dragon, and the dragon is blowing fire, and you keep on darting and missing it, and you just give that dragon another stab, and the dragon's getting angry or breathing fire. At one point, the princess goes, "All right, Sadik, okay, you win it. You proved yourself. Just stop. We might get you. I accept you. And the prince would go, No. Give me one. I can do this. Give me one more minute. I can do it. What's wrong with that?
His pride got in the way.
What's it? What does it say? It's
It's for himself.
It's not about her. It's about himself.
Yeah.
Are you here to slay a dragon, or you want the princess? As soon as the princess says yes, if you want to keep on fighting, you're the biggest idiot. This is the guy in the mall saying, "Don't give me a hint." But there, everyone thinks it's crazy. The princess story doesn't bother me so much. I'm thinking, yeah, let me finish. I went so far, let me finish it already. Because it's subtle. It's very deep. We don't realize how much is about ourselves, how much is about the other person. That's right? You have to chop what's about the princess, what's about you. If she says, I'm signing, then you drop the sword and you just do. That's what you should. And if you don't feel that means you. And it could be the whole reason you want the princess is to prove your value. A lot of people only want princesses because I made it, I got a princess. The way you could tell is if the princess says she's interested and you're still selling. If you're still selling after she said yes, that means that you're doing it for you, not for her. Okay? It's a good barometer for our own psyches to figure out what's motivating us. But so here's the vart. The vart is that when you come to the top of Masada, there's two things. There's the feeling of me that I climbed, and then there's the view of Yerushalayim. So if I want to see Yerushalayim and I climb it, it means what? You don't love Yerushalayim enough. Same thing as your kid in the mall. That's the reason why you're allowed to go to a shir. Is that I want to know Torah. I'm craving the Torah. I don't want to spend 10 years figuring out myself. Hashem, I just want to be with you. I want to get you. I also want to be myself. So there's this duality. Half of me should be craving going to shiurim so I can hear everything because I just want to hear the mind-blowing Torah of God, and I don't want to be in the dark. Same thing as the boy in the mall. Same thing as the view of Masada. I want to know you, Hashem, and the other part is I want to be me. I want to do it myself. And that's why, and they're both valid. That's why there's a menorah, which is Torah, and then there's the mizbeach, which is avodah. It's really not. It's really the Orain. Really the Orain and the Mizbeach. The Mizbeach is a ram, and the Orain is the cable car. It's Noisias Noisav. You have no role in the Orain. It carries you. The Orain is Torah. In Torah, it's I want to know you, Hashem. Right? In Torah, the Orain is I just want to know you, Hashem. Just teach me everything. Show me. Hareina. And then in the Menorah, in the Mizbeach, you have to climb it yourself. Halfway in between the Orain and the Mizbeach is the Menorah. What's the Menorah? And the Menorah has steers. So I want to find the steers is half cable car, half ramp. It's
Going to share, not using the system.
what?
Going to share, not using the system.
Using a Masifta. It's not going to the shear.
Going to share.
Not going to shear. Not going to shear. Not going to shear, but not learning yourself. Using a Masifta is like half. It's like halfway. The shear is total cable car. Tell me the Torah, right? I don't know. However he means to. Maybe you're thinking of him differently. But there's a middle ground.
I'm just trying to go with the Rebbe. You're saying don't go to share.
No, I'm saying the shear is a problem to the Mizbeach.
Right.
But to the Orain is pure shear. It's carry me. In between is a menorah. The menorah is I do work, but I mean it's like the Masifta. I have to learn it. I have to figure it all out. But everything is spelled out from me already, and I just have to. It's a lot of little jumps.
Isn't the menorah also Torah?
Yeah, that's both Torah. But that's what's the menorah? That's my shaila. Why is there two Torahs? If there's the Orain that's Torah and the Mizbeach that's Avodah, so then what's the menorah? So this is the coolest thing. In Talmud Torah, there's two bechinas. The menorah is it's halfway. The menorah is half Mizbeach and half Orain. How do you see that? What brachas do we make in the morning on Talmud Torah. What are the brachas? The first bracha is Lasaik b'divrei Torah, which is what? Which is the avodah. Lasaik. The second bracha is what? V'hariv no Hashem Elokeinu, make it sweet or whatever. What's up? Hamlamei Torah l'Amla Yisrael. What does that mean? Is that crazy? Hamlamei Torah, who teaches me Torah. The first one is Lasaik, is that I toil, and the second bracha is Hamlamei Torah l'Amla Yisrael, is that you teach to me. So these two, in Talmud Torah you have both. Torah, as learned in Limud HaTorah, it's half avodah and half Orein, half Mizbeach, and that's menorah. The menorah is the tziruf. It's a ramp and a cable car in one, and that's a staircase. Staircase, that's why you have stairs to the menorah. It's amazing. It's a lot of things over here, but let me just tie it all together. Why did I tell you all this? Because I was telling you that Sedaim is total din. You have to earn it yourself. So Sedaim is really just saying, don't use a masifta, right? So why is Sedaim so bad, right? So why did I go to Sedaim? Show you what's wrong with din. That's a problem with Yitzchak. Yitzchak's pure din. Why is Sedaim bad? Time to figure it all out. We went so many places. We're almost there. Oh, we're saying the camels. So that's why you need that. What? Oh, Gamal Menikais. So Gamal Menikais is the Maila of a Sedaim. Well, I don't need anything. I do it myself. I'm a Gamal. But I do Chesed. I'm not goyrus anybody. You could have chesed, you can give people, but not again. You still right. You're giving me a blank look because you probably have on to the next kasha already. You're saying, why should I not? Why should I help anybody else? I'm hurting them. But before you get to that kasha, do you understand? There's a better step where first you earn the combination of chesed and din is that you should take care of everything yourself. Yeah, what's Gamal Menikais? Is you learn the sugya without a mesifta, and then you give share. What's that? That's Gamal Menikais. Gamal Menikais is to learn the sugya and give a share. Right? So it's my share. I didn't compromise. I'm doing the whole thing. That's what happens when you combine Yaakov, when you combine Avram, Yitzchak, and Rivka. Yitzchak is the weaned, and Rivka is the nurser. Okay, so we didn't do the nimshal. You're gonna have to forget the nimshal on your own. This is all the Torah. The nimshal is you have to figure out what the sugya is in a relationship. You know, this is all philosophy, but what does it really mean in a relationship? Is it a good thing that the girl needs the guy? Why? So what are we asking? We're asking that Yitzchak has to become needy so his wife feels fulfilled. So she needs you to be not as good as you could be so she could feel good. Isn't that bad? So that's extremely selfish, right? Unbelievably selfish. That Yitzchak is a gamal, but I need him to be thirsty so I feel like I'm a role in my life. That's terrible. That's what Eliezer is really asking for. Someone who can get a camel to drink. What do you mean? He doesn't need a drink. He's done. So you're asking the guy from the yeshiva, like this is what a therapist would say. Like I think it's terrible advice. Before you go home from Seder, like think of a few problems in your life that you could tell your wife and she can like help you with them, you know, so she feels important, right? It's such a modern, crazy, stupid thing. Like you don't fake. If you're learning and you're on fire, you're showing. Now you worry, you can but I'm gonna come home. She doesn't feel any purpose, right? Right? So that's the kasha in Eliezer. Why do you need to give the camel to drink? So Rivka's one step smarter. She's saying, well, I don't need Yitzchak to be less so that I could give him the drink. I want him to be perfect. I'm going to give him to drink on kaloisam lishtais. Well, so what is she saying? That's the deepest thing in the whole dialogue here. If she says, I'm going to give him the drink on kaloisam lishtais, so what is she saying?
He still needs to drink a little more.
So she's saying that you don't need him to fake thirsty. He's thirsty. And I want him to be full. I don't need him to fake emptiness for me. I need to finish him. I'm going to really finish him. You're looking for a game, someone's going to Camel the drink. The Camel can drink more than, this Camel's not as full as you think it is. I'm going to give him the drink. What does that mean in English? I think what it means is that, you see, and that's why Yitzchak can't love Rivka. Yaakov falls in love with Rachel the second he sees her. The first thing he kisses her, the first time he sees her. Right? And Vayev Yaakov is Rachel. But Yitzchak, when does he love her? It's only after he marries her, or brings her into the tent, and then he loves her. Because Yitzchak's not capable of love beforehand. He's pure din. It's Rivka who makes him. So that's the insight, is that shleimus is not shleimus. Is that pure din is not perfect. It's like a robot. There's something wrong with that. We call it autism, Asperger's. Why is it Asperger's? He's like a robot. He's perfectly mathematically, has no Yetzer Hara. He shows up to Seder, I saw him had a chavrusa like that. He got the best guy in yeshiva because nobody wanted to learn with him. Because he was there 9 o'clock, he left 1:30, he didn't do coffee, he didn't go to the bathroom. He went to the bathroom beforehand. So he was the best guy in yeshiva. Nobody wanted to learn with him, So what's wrong with that? What's wrong with that is that there is something wrong with it. What's wrong with it? How would you explain? What's wrong with that? Why do we consider it like some kind of faulty spectrum? It sounds amazing, right? What's the answer? Well, the answer is what Rivka's answering. Rivka's saying, I don't want somebody who's like on the spectrum. I don't know if I'm using the right words. So it's always, but whatever is. In English, it's that vulnerability is not a crack in your armor. That's the crown. On it's part of the art. It's the crown. It's the ability to be vulnerable. Openness is larger. Somebody who is amazing and is vulnerable has a need for someone else. It's a shleimus, not a chesaron. That's the paradigm shift that you have to go through in the dialogue between Yaakov, in the showdown between Yitzchak and Rivka. And that's really what they're fighting over. Yitzchak is going out into the field and she's coming on her camel. And he's Mr. Din and she's going to teach him how to be vulnerable. And he's saying that vulnerability is such a weakness. I don't need anything. And she's going, Nebuch, you don't need anything. You don't know how big you could be when you need it. And that's their fight. And what was supposed to happen is she's supposed to soften him up and make him vulnerable. Instead, she falls off her camel, which means that his din overwhelmed her chesed. And she became tougher, which shows up very importantly next week. What happens next week? How is sweet Rivka able to lie and cheat and fake her husband Yitzchak? It's because she fell off a camel. Whatever is what I'm saying, but you have a lot of data. You have to work it out okay?
It's crazy. You made this all up?
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's crazy.